Hello, and welcome to my project management guide. So today I'm going to be telling you essentially how to set up a project management, pretty much, because I think that most of the options here are pretty self-explanatory. They've all got tooltips as well, by the way, so you can read those if one of them confuses you. I just want to prove first that if you look at the quality of most of my releases, in fact, the only ones that are great really are, well, I made all of these OSs for. My releases were great as opposed to outstanding. So the point is that I'm making is that this method works. You can get great releases that are very, very profitable with your project management. I mean, look at this audio tool, for example. This came through project management and it made me $200 million. So just to kind of show you what I do works. You get great quality releases, you make a lot of money, and you don't have to do very much micro in the process. So how do we set it up? So the first thing that you'd want to do is create a team for your project management. Now, what I like to do is I like to create 3 teams for any given project, and that even includes my core teams, because this way you can have your teams working around the clock, and you can have it so that there's always someone doing work on a project that you're doing, which makes you able to put out releases at a very, very fast pace. So that is not necessary. You don't actually need to do that, but it will increase the amount of productivity that your company is outputting by a very sizable amount. Okay, so for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and make an antivirus project management because we don't actually have one yet, right? So we're going to go ahead and minimize these, and I'm going to create an antivirus team. And I'll go through the process of setting up 3 just to show you what that looks like. So as you can see, we've got our 3 teams set up. Now, what I like to do is I like to give them a short abbreviation for whatever they do. So for example, the 2D team does 2D editors, 3D team does 2D editors, AUD does audio tools, and so on and so forth. So ANT will be for antivirus. And then I like to label them 1 through 3. The 1 shift will go 8 to 4, the 3 shift will go 5 to midnight, and the 3 shift will go 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. The reason that you stagger the shifts like this is because I found that if you actually just do it, if you match them up, so for example, if you did 4 to midnight here, what would end up happening is the teams would complain that there's other people using their office because some people actually stay past the time they're supposed to, or maybe they show up early. So if you stagger it like this, you won't have that complaint. Regardless, now we've got our team set up. So how do we actually make a project management with them? Well, the first thing we're going to need to do is populate these teams. So we're going to go ahead and hire an employee. And what we're going to do is we're going to hire an HR manager, a lead, who has automation. And we'll explain in a while why that's really important. But we definitely want the max amount of stars in automation. So Pam Curry here will do just fine. So we're going to go ahead and put her on the antivirus team. Then you're going to go ahead and give her an auto role and make her a leader. Okay. And now that she is in charge of that team, your other 2 managers don't need to have automation. So for them, I'd recommend socialization in HR or maybe multitasking in HR. That's personal preference. But what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to develop a new project management, and the name can be whatever you want because this does not determine the name of the products. So we've got our name now. So we're going to go ahead and set Curry. You can also take the team name here as our leader. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to set the teams that you just created, or the 1 team, as the design and the development team. So now that that's out of the way, the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to explain them. The only one that I think might need explaining is secondary dev teams. So from what I understand, the way that this works is if there's a team that is not doing anything at all, and they have free time on their hands, they might do development on this project if they're a secondary dev team. This is totally optional. You can leave it blank. In fact, it may even improve the quality of the product. Leave it blank. It may not. I don't know, but I certainly wouldn't worry about that. You can choose. What I usually often do here is I will put my P and U teams, which are my porting and update teams, on secondary dev because sometimes they don't have to update. Sometimes they're not porting something. And so this just gives them something to do so that they're not as idle. The rest of them, though, I think you can pretty much do on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and I'll be right back when it's all done. Okay, so this is what my typical project management document would look like. Now, the only other thing that might be worth going over here is development time. If you up development time, that will increase the final quality of the product that they make. That's how I have so many outstanding products. I found that if you go from around 150 to 180%, that's pretty much a sweet spot. Now, this is an antivirus, and those are very quick to develop, usually around a year or less. So we're going to put it to 200% because I just want to make sure that they put out an outstanding project every single time. But there you go. You've got your project management doc. It's done. And now, depending on whether or not you take the auto development option, they will develop products, right? I'm going to turn that off. I like to turn it off for the first couple of releases. And the reason why is because I want to make sure that they've got someone with good inspiration. So we're just going to go ahead and make an antivirus here, and then I'm going to fill out the doc, and I'm going to show you what you need to do when you're done with this. Okay, so we've got a pretty good antivirus here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the teams that I just created on it. And now you're just going to handle hiring. So look, you need 2 designers for this antivirus. You need 4 recommended programmers and 1 artist, right? So what you do is you go to the team that you hired, and this is why you wanted an HR manager, because they will handle the hiring for you. So you go ahead and you set everything up that you want to be set up here. But the important part is down here. How many of each role do you hire? So what I do is I always hire a designer as my leader, because that way they might even be creative and then they can be both the project management document, but also actually be the lead designer on these projects if they're creative enough. That's just personal preference. It doesn't really matter. But I would definitely recommend that you have your leader able to do either programming or designing because otherwise they're pretty much useless. Anyways, the reason why I bring that up is because for some reason, when you hire a team that you want to use HR on, it doesn't count whatever the leader does as a role. So Pam Curry here does designing, but it doesn't count her. So you just need to keep that in mind when you're hiring a recommended designer. So it says 2, but I'm just going to put 1 here because we've already got 1 and she's going to hire another. Okay. So then we need 4 programmers and then we need 1 artist. And then the last thing that's really important, and you cannot forget to do this, is pick the specializations according to whatever product they're developing. So antiviruses here need a specialization in system and 2D. And that's it. They're very simple programs. So we're going to do 2D and system as it recommends. Salary, that's up to you, though I would recommend having at least 1 employee with 2 stars so that they can do the 2-star features. See, in this program, for example, we did anti-theft, and without a level 2 system designer, they're not going to be able to develop this product. At least they're not going to do it well or fast. So you set up your hiring, you close that window, and then if we forward a little bit, there you go. She's hired a team. HR just saved you a lot of micro. And then you go ahead and you do project management after you have all your dependencies and everything, of course. Then you do project management and you assign it to the new one that you created. So we create the antivirus. This is the antivirus we want them to develop. And there you go. So that is pretty much it. They will do everything now for you. They will handle the marketing, they will handle development, and they will also handle support and updates after the task release. The only things, in my experience, the only 2 things that you need to do here in terms of micro, whenever the product releases, you will be notified on the left side of the screen. You need to port that product to as many platforms as you want it to be ported to because the AI won't do that. So you need to do that. Another thing that you need to do, this print job copies, this is a limit, as in they will print this amount of the software before it releases. But if you want there to be maintained a constant stock of a certain amount, you will have to do that manually. So to do that, you would just go to the software that just released, and then you would do start printing. And it will show up here, and you click maximum, and you set the amount that you want to always be maintained in stock. Another thing that you want to be aware about is action points. Action points essentially just propel the project forward. They allow it to work. They make sure that there's always something happening within the project management. And this is why you want to hire a level 3 leader, because not only does that give you access to all of these different boxes, which you won't be able to do. For example, handling support and post-marketing, you cannot do that without a level 3 automation leader. So that's why I said it's imperative that you have a level 3. But also action points. If they have level 1 or level 2, they won't be able to do as many things. They won't generate them as quickly. And so the product will just come out slower and you won't make as much money and people will be idle more often. And that's not a good thing. So that's why you want a level 3 automation leader. So that's it. I think that covers everything. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.